Hello, how are you doing? Good afternoon to you. Who is here with me? Say something so I can know who is here. Hello, who is here with me? Hello, thank you so much for joining. Who is here with me? Please say hello so I can know who it is. Welcome to the writing session. So good to have you. So good to have you at the writing session. Where are you going? Sorry, where are you from? Oh, hey, Escalator. Thank you so much for joining me today. So good to see you, so good to see you, so good to have you, so good to have you here. So good to have you here. Today I'm going to do a live writing session. So I hope that you can spend some time with us here. Yes. I hope that you can spend some time with us here, Escalator. We're going to be doing a live writing session. Hello, Pascaline. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. So good to see you. So good to see you. Good evening. Good evening. Yes. I don't think we have the same time zone, do we? I don't think so. But it's good to see you, Pascaline and Escalita. So good to see you too. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. It's truly a blessing having you guys here. So I'm just waiting for the others to come in. Once they come in, we are going to begin the writing session. So thank you so much for joining. So good to see you guys. So give me a quick moment, please, guys. Hello, hello. Hey, Mirad, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. So good to see you. So good to see you. So how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Oh, you made a mistake. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, Mirad, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Pascaline, what was the mistake? Yes, Mirad, as you did say composition. That's what we say composition. In our own here in our country, we would use that term to composition. So that's okay if you use that term composition. It's quite fine. Hello, hello, Chrissy and Ayana. Good to see you guys. How are you doing? Oh, Pascaline, you're saying you're not home. You just saw the notification and came to share me out. Okay, thank you so much. Immediately. Oh, the sister has done that. Okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Pascaline. It's always good to have you and your great music that you have. Yes, I was listening to your music all weekend. I'm sure that you would have seen me at your LS. I was there. Yeah. Oh, you're doing good. That's good to know that you guys are doing good. Okay, so I'm just waiting for a couple more persons to come in. Once they come in, I'm gonna begin the session today. And those of you who are already here, I want to thank you so much for coming, for being here. It is always a pleasure to have each and every one of you. And remember, today is a continuation of the writing session. I think after today, we'll move on from that part of the writing to deal with more things that can be very problematic for us sometimes when writing, and they can cause us to, maybe have a lot of editing to do. So we'll be moving on to other topics like homographs and homophones and so on. Sometimes we use the wrong spelling. So we'll be going back a bit to spelling. Spelling is one of the things that we face a lot of issues with when it comes to writing. Oh no, Miss Rose, she's not going to be here today. No, she's not going to be here today. She's not going to be here today. Oh, you saw me comment the last time. Okay, Pascaline. Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's daytime. And, even though it's daytime, sometimes we have the roosters crowing even at daytime. So they don't only crow at night, but we have them at daytime too. Yes, we do. Okay, so I'm just giving about 2 more minutes and then I'm going to begin. Whoever is here, we'll begin with you guys. Because I think I already shared it out. I think I already shared it out. Okay, so I think we should begin. Hey Neil, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. So good to have you coming. So good to have you coming. And I'm so sorry about yesterday. I planned that I was gonna be online yesterday, and guys, things just didn't work out in my favor to be online yesterday. So I am so sorry. So sorry about yesterday. So today we are here nevertheless. What I would urge you to do, guys, if you have friends, you have friends at school who you think may be interested in learning some things about writing, you can please send this to them, whether it's on WhatsApp, it's on Facebook, whatever you use, send it to someone, right? So that they can be a part of this session too. Because in this session, that's where we are going to explore a lot more in detail things on writing. Okay, and today we are going to look at narrative writing. And we know that narrative writing is a type of writing that, though it should be very easy for us, it is something that is so hard for a lot of students. There are even people who are older than you guys who would face a lot of issue with narrative writing. So that's what we are going to be doing today. And I would love you guys to share out to friends. And I would also love you guys to give the video a thumbs up, right? There's a thumbs up where the video is on your device. So please give the video a thumbs up. Okay, so you just give the video a thumbs up by clicking the thumbs up button. So if you haven't done so, please do that now for me, please. Thank you. Oh, Mirad is asking if I'm from the US. No, I'm not from the US. I'm not from the US. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from the Caribbean, Mirad. Where you from? Okay, Pascaline. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much for the time you spent here. It's totally a blessing having you. So, Mirad, I am not from the US. I am from the Caribbean. Where are you from? Let's hear where you're from. And sometime this week, maybe coming to the end of the week, guys, I would be doing a session on this channel, and the session would be called We're in the Caribbean. So basically what we'll be doing is like we're gonna be moving from island to island. Like, you know, right now it's so hard for people to engage in travel as much as they would want to. So, you know, you can travel using social media, and this is one way that we can travel together. So what we can do, we can learn so many things about the different islands. You know, last time when we were having a session with Miss Ro, we were talking so much about the different things about different Caribbean islands like Barbados, St. Vincent, Jamaica, and so on. So now we would also be doing just the Caribbean, and we would have that session dedicated to that, where we are going to see how much we know about the Caribbean. So we are going to do Where in the Caribbean, right? So I hope that you guys will tune in for that session, and that session will be sometime later this week. Um, Hopefully, maybe Thursday or so, God's willing. That's when I'll do that session. Yeah. So let's get ready to begin. Okay, so Mirad, which part of East Africa are you from? So the African region can be a really, really big region right here. There's so many places in Africa. You have Egypt, you have Liberia. There's so many places. You have Mali, you have Chad, you have Sudan, you have the Congo, you have Nambia, you have Botswana. There's so many places in Africa. So let's know exactly where in Africa you're talking about. You have Somalia, Ethiopia, Tanzania. There are so many places in Africa. Oh, so you're from Kenya. Wow, I love Kenya. I have never been to Kenya, but I have seen so many interesting things about Kenya by watching the news, by watching videos, and so on. So that's a place that I really, really love. Okay, so guys, we're gonna begin now. So let's get ready for that. So today we are going to start with, from the last session that we were doing, we're going to start part with, yes, from that last session. We're going to start there, and then we are going to continue. So just give me a moment. Let me open that session. Good. So we are going to begin from that session that we did the last time. Okay, so give me a moment, guys, so I can share my screen with you, please. Hold on for me, guys. I'm having an issue with sharing my screen, so let's just get that. Okay, so I'm sure that you guys can see my screen right now. So let's begin. Okay, so we're going to begin right here. With me saying hello to everyone again. Thank you so much for joining. And welcome to class. I am Miss John. So at this point, we are going to continue from where we left off the last time. Last time we were making sentences, so we're just going to be doing some review. We were making sentences and we were unscrambling the words to make sentences. So let me see you guys doing this as a quick activity, as a warm-up activity. Let me see you guys putting the words in the correct order to give the sentence as we did last time. So this should be very quick for you because it's something that we have done last time. So let me see you guys doing that quickly. Very quick. Putting the words in the correct order to make sentences. Come on. I know that each of you can do this. We have done it before. Let me see you, each and every one of you, doing that now. Putting the words in the correct order to make sentences. Let's go, let's go. Come on. I'm not seeing anyone typing. I'm not seeing anyone typing. Remember that you have to type the sentence out, okay? So you're going to go to the chat and you're going to type the sentence. Okay, so I see Chrissy and Ayana first. They're saying there are many people here today. I see Mirad is saying many people are there today. Okay, so Mirad's sentence and Ayana's sentence. I see Neil is saying there are many people here today. Okay, so Neil and Mirad, there is something incorrect about your sentence. There is something that you have forgotten. So you need to check to see what you have forgotten. So many people are there today. So we can say that too, right? We can also say there are many people here today. Yes? So it's just the way that we can play with the words, right? So what I was really looking for was there are many people here today. But there are many people here today, and many people are there today. There are two sentences, but the difference between them is that they are expressing two different thoughts. Okay. So if I say that there are many people there today, or many people are there today, so I'm talking about somewhere that I am not so close to, or somewhere that where I am not. Okay. So I am not there. But if I'm talking about somewhere where I am, then I would say here. Okay? So that's the difference between the two sentences. But we get the idea of the sentence talking about many people. And when we talk about many people, what can we term that as? So when we have a group of people, if we don't want to write many people, what can we term it as? Remember, we are doing writing, so we need to know other ways that we can put our words, okay? So we can make our sentence more juicy and all that. When we have a group of people, a collection of people, what do we call that? I'm sure that you have done collective nouns before. And in doing collective nouns, when we have a group of people, what do you call a group of people? Let me see some answers coming in the chat box. So if you have done collective nouns before, what do you call a group of people? Come on. A group of people. A group of people. What do you call a group of people? Okay. So let me see your answers. Okay. Neil is saying that you call a group of people many. What do you call a group of people? Collective nouns. Come on, let's go back to collective nouns. When you group things, for example, if I have a group of let me group something. If I have a group of bananas, what would I call it? I would call it a what? A bunch, right? So I would say I have a bunch of bananas. If I have a group of flowers, let's say I have a lot of flowers together and I put them together, I would call that a bouquet of flowers, right? So when I have a group of people together, it depends on what circumstance I have them in or where I have them. If I have them like at a football game, I would say like the spectators, right? Yes, I consider spectators or I consider audience, right? But if I just have them in an ordinary place, I would say the crowd of people. I would say the crowd of people, right? If I have them at home, then I would call them a family, okay? So it depends on where you have them and what they are doing that you would name them. But if you just have a random group of people like that, you can call it a crowd. That would be the best way to put it, a crowd of people. Yes, good. Right. So I see now some persons are saying crowd. Because before I saw gang, I saw gang refers to like thieves, a gang of thieves. Yes. Class is for students. So that's a group too. But when you see when it's in the class setting, in the classroom setting, yes, you're going to say a class of students. So for students, when they are students, you would use class. So as I was telling you a while ago, it depends on where they are. Good. Congregation is also one that we can use. We can say the congregation of people, and congregation is mainly used for like a church. We can also say like the assembly of people. So an assembly can work also. We can say assembly and we can say crowd, the crowd of people. Okay, good. So now let's move on. You guys did well in that sentence, and that was from the last time. We were just seeing how well you can put the sentence together. So now I want you to look at this picture, guys. Go ahead, look at the picture. This activity, we did it last time too, where we looked at the picture. So today we are going to look at the picture again. And we are going to try to remember at least 7 things that we have seen on the picture. 7 things that we have seen on the picture. So go ahead, guys, write 7 things that you have seen on the picture. 7 things that you have seen on the picture. 7 things that you have seen on the picture. Come on, let me see your answers coming in. 7 things that you have seen on the picture. Seven things that you have seen on the picture. And I'm sure that you have seen the picture. I just flashed the picture a while ago. So let's see if you can remember 7 things that you have seen on the picture. Let's go back to it. 7 things you have seen on the picture. Okay, so I see someone saying show it again. Okay, so we have different pictures there put together, but all of them, they are showing a particular setting. Okay, at this place, you can get all these things that are shown in the picture. Okay, so now let me see you put 7 things that you can see in the picture. And this is an activity that we have done last time, so we are just starting out from where we stopped last time. Okay, so I just showed the picture. Let's see what your answers will be. 7 things you have seen in the picture. 7 things that you have seen in the picture. Come on, guys. I'm not seeing you giving me 7 things you have seen in the picture. So I'm not seeing your answers. 7 things that you have seen in the picture. So I just showed the picture a while ago. 7 things. So you are supposed to give me 7 things that you can see in the picture. I'll go back to it. 7 things that you can see in the picture. 7. Any 7 things that you can see in the picture. Okay, so I see Miranda saying food, stuffs, swings, family, having fun. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3 things you can see there. Okay, so let's see, anyone else who can get 7 things that you can see in the picture. 7. And children. Okay, so that's 4. That's 4. That's 4, Mirab. Let's see some more answers. Neil is saying cupcake, brink, bumps, bumpscot, popsicle, cup, straw, boy, girl, owl. That's really good, Neil. That's you know a lot there. That's good. I see Christiana saying friends, owl, bumper cars, umbrella, sweet, pool, Ferris wheel, the Ferris wheel. Okay, and family. Awesome job. Yes. So we can see all those things that you guys have mentioned there in the picture. And that's so true. And I want you guys to remember this picture. I want you guys to remember this picture. Okay. And I just see food and candy coming in. Yes, food and candy. Yes, we can see food and candy. Very good. Very good, Chrissy and Anna and Neil. You guys are doing well. Okay. So now you're going to just make a sentence on the picture. So we are going back from where we stopped last week. And we are only going to do this twice, and then we're going into what we would be doing for today. So what I want you to do is think of the mystery sentence that we can make from the picture. So there is a mystery sentence, and you guys can see this sentence. You can see the theme that it surrounds, and the theme has to do with a certain place that many children want. Yeah, many children would want to go. Yes, many children would want to go to this place. So all of the pictures there, they go with that one place, right? So let's see. Remember, you can give words or you can give letters, okay? So I see Neil is saying they. So they is indeed our first word. Very good, Neil. They. Remember, if any of your word is incorrect or any of your letters, I'll be taking off the body parts. And then finally at the end, the man will be hanged, okay? So we have to try to do our best. Okay, I see R. Yes, R is another word that can go there. R is correct. Let's see what's the next word. Okay, so let me give you a hint. That's a hint right there. A. Yes, so we do have A. Yes, we do have a N. Yes, we do have N. We do have N. E. E. What's the next letter? Come on, guys. P. Yes, P. Bumper. Yes, bumper. Yes, bumper. C. Yes. I. I. Cars. Yes. Come on, come on. O. No, we don't have an O. R. Yes. What else? What else? Okay, so I see W. No, we don't have W. M. No, we don't have M. We already have the M that's supposed to go there. Come on, guys. Ice. No, we don't have ice. And guys, you know what? I've been here not taking away the man. So you know what? I think I might have to cancel this question because I was there not trying to hang. Okay, so let's move on to the next picture and do this one. So what can you guys see in this picture? Let's do this one instead. What can you see in this picture? And this one I have to remember to hang. Come on. What can you see in this one? What can you see in this one? So look at it carefully. Look at it carefully. And this one is asking a question. It's asking a question. Hold on. Hold on for me, guys. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so remember this one is going with the picture that we have seen before. So if you're now joining, this is the picture that we are looking at, and we are asking a question. So we are going to ask a question. Okay? So go ahead, words or letters, words or letters. Hello, Slim Jim Longford. Thank you so much for coming by. Okay, so you were saying it's a volcano. Yes, so we can see the volcano, we can see sand. Good job. So now let me see you putting in your letters or your words to ask the question. So we saw a volcano, and let me see you putting in your letters or your words to ask the question there. And I have to remember at this time that I must start taking away body parts. Okay? From that man that's on the screen right there as we play the game Hangman. So let's go, let's go, let's go. Start putting in your letters or your words. Remember, you can do letters or you can do words. Come on, everyone, let's go. Okay, so I see T. Yes, T. I see H, E. So I'll put in the E's, yes. R. I see R. So we don't have any R. I see volcano. Yes, I'll put in volcano. Volcano. Good. I see Y. Yes. And someone says E again. Okay. So come on, guys. You're very close. You are so close to the mystery. Let's get it figured out. You're very close. O. Yes, we do have O. Come on, what's the next letter? U. So I see you coming in. Yes, U is correct. A. Good job. T. No, we don't have any more T, so I'm afraid I'm gonna have to take off that hand. V. Yes, we do have a V. So have you. Come on, what's the next two letters? You have two more letters. Seen. Seen. Okay, I should give you guys that's correct. Okay, I can give you guys that correct. So you were saying that the sentence is, have you seen to a volcano? Would that be correct? No, you can't say have you seen to a volcano. That would not be correct. So that means you guys are gonna lose a body part right there. So I have to take off the next hand. I'll give you the N. And somebody put S again. No, that's incorrect. So I'll take off the bottom part of the body. Okay, now I see bean. Yes. So that's what I'm looking for, bean. So the sentence reads, have you been to a volcano? What do I put? A full stop or a question mark? Okay, what do I put? A full stop or a question mark? Yes, I put a question mark. Very good. Because it's a question. And as you notice, I began with my capital letter. Good job. So now we're going to do our actual story. So in doing our story, we are going to look at what we call elements of a story. And some of you would have completed some of this at school before, while some of you may not have done much in this area. But this is very important for you if you're going to write stories. And as we said today, that we are going to look at narrative stories. Okay? So our first thing that we are going to look at, the first element that we are going to look at in our narrative story would be who or what our story is going to be about. So who or what our story would be about. So I want you to give me some ideas. We are going to draft right now. And when we are drafting, it simply means we are thinking. So we are brainstorming. We are thinking and we are just putting down ideas. We do not have to put them in sentences. We can put them in phrases, which means a part of a sentence. It doesn't give a complete thought or make full sense, right? So we can put a phrase, we can put one word, we can put a sentence when we are drafting. But to make it easy, we can just put phrase and we can put one word. So what you can do now, make sure you have a pencil and you have a piece of paper in front of you too, so you can write down what you are thinking about. We are going to look at this picture and we are going to think. We can see things in the picture and we have done this picture before. So let's start thinking. We're going to put on that think. We're going to make sure that we understand We want to make sure that we understand, okay? So in order to make sure that we understand, we are going to think what, or we are going to think who. So what or who would refer to someone, or it would refer to an object. So who would be a person, what would be an object, okay? So we can say who. When we think about who, we are thinking about people. Yes, we are thinking about people. When we say what, we are thinking about something. Or we can be thinking about animals. We can be thinking about something, or we can be thinking about animals. So let me see everyone put who or what. And this should be very easy for you to put who or what. So we are going to write a story and we are going to put who or what. Okay, so let me see what you guys are saying, who or what. Who or what? And I'm losing the comments. Hold on, let me just get the comments. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone saying anything. Come on, guys. Who or what? Oh, it seems as though some of you're delayed. So who or what is our story going to be about? So we are going to form the story. And in us forming the story, the first thing that we need to know is who or what our story is about. Who or what our story is about. And remember, we say that we are doing narrative writing, okay? So in narrative writing, we tell a story. And our story, it can be something that is true, or it can be something that is not true, something that is a fantasy. Yes, it can be something that is a fantasy. And we can have so many different kinds of narrative writing, okay? So once we are able to use the elements, then we'll be able to create our story. We'll be able to tell a story. So when you narrate, that's simply what you're doing. You're telling a story. And you just simply tell the story. You know, you don't try to do anything else but to tell that story. So let me see your answers coming in. Who or what your story is going to be about? Who or what? Okay. So you guys are delaying, okay? So that's why it's taking me a while to read what you're saying. So I see Christiana and said the story is about a boy named George Thomas, about a dog named Rex. Good. Hello, Serena. So good to have you. So it's about a boy named George Thomas. It's about a dog named Rex. And remember, when you are telling a story, your character Your who or your what can be anything that you choose. It can be anyone or anything. Okay? So that's one thing that you must know. If your friend story is about James, your story does not have to be about James. Your story can be about John. Okay, so you can make sure that you write about someone different. Both of you can have the same names, but then your story can be telling something different about that person. Okay, so you can be telling something different. You don't have to tell the same thing, even though your stories have the same character. Because on different days, people can be doing different things. On different days, we can use things to do different things. Okay? So they do not have to be the same. Good. So now that we have done that, we know who or what we are writing about. If I'm supposed to write a story on this picture, I would rather write about the dog. I would love to write about the dog. Yeah. Or maybe I can write about the sheep. And all these would be what? Or I can write about the mountains. Yes, I can write about the mountains. Or I can write about the trees. I can also write about the man. Yes. Or about the stick. Yes, definitely. That's what I can write about. Any of those things, I can write about them. That can be what my story is about. Telling the story all about that. So let's continue. So the next part of our story would be about when. That's going to be the time. When? When is this story going to happen? Or when did it happen? We should use when did it happen because of the fact that we try to write whenever we were writing our stories, we most of the time would write them in the past as though they have already happened. So because we are going to write them in the past as though they have already happened, then we can ask when. When did the story happen? What time? And when we are using the timing, there are so many times that we can have. So let me see you guys putting in some times there for me. Come on, let me see some time that the story can happen. Let me see some time. And I see noon. I see morning. I see lunch. Very good timing. Very good timing. What else can we write for time? What else can we write for time? Yes, so we can say at dinner. We can say at lunch. We can say in the morning. We can say at recess. If we are at school, it can be at recess. We can say at dusk. We can also say at dawn. And I see someone here is putting an actual specific time. A very good, Neil. That is a specific time. That tells us exactly when, right? At 8 o'clock. And remember, we have to make sure that we add something to our o'clocks. We have to make sure that we add AM or we add PM, because whoever is reading our story, they would want to know if it was AM or if it was PM. When? So AM would be in the morning time, and we know PM would be in the evening time. or nighttime. So you have to make sure that you write that next to your story. You can't just put 8 o'clock. We need to have, if it's 8 o'clock a.m., p.m., whatever it is. Okay? But that's very good. So if we write at dinner, most of the time, persons would have dinner around 6 o'clock to about 8, 9 o'clock, the latest. Most persons will have dinner around that time, 6 to about 8 o'clock in the evening. So that would be dinner time. Morning, when we look at morning, we are going to look at morning in two ways. We can look at it as the early part of the morning, like when it is early morning, in the wee hours of the morning, as we would say, from any time after 12, coming down to 6 o'clock a.m., we can look at that as morning time, right? And we know that that's the early morning. And then we also have the late morning. That's from 6 o'clock right up to 12 o'clock. Yes, and we can also use for morning, we can also use dawn. So we can say at dawn, right? If we say at dusk, that's in the evening time. We can also use at sunrise. Sunrise would be morning time. We can also use at sunset. Sunset would be evening time. So those are some of the things that we can use to talk about the time. We can also say it was daytime, or we can say it was nighttime. That too can give us some understanding of when the story took place. Good job. So you guys did really, really well. Okay. So I just removed the number. Okay. So I don't really want the number in the chat. So I hope that you guys are recording this too on your sheet. Okay. The next part we are going to do now is the setting. The setting. When we hear setting, we ask the question, where? Where? When we hear setting, we ask the question, where? So, where are they? Where are they? Come on, let's see where. So let's answer where. Where are they? So let's see some answers coming in. Come on, tell me where they are, where they are. That's what I want to know. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? So let me see your answers. Oh, somebody's saying they are at the pasture. Pasture. Okay, so we have to correct the spelling for pasture. Pasture, spelled Pasture. Pasture. That's a good one. They are at the pasture. Good job. Anybody else want to say where they are? Can I say that they are on the plane or they are at the plane? Would that be correct? And when I say plane here, I'm talking about Plain. Plain. That type of plane. That piece of land. Do you know what the plane is? So other than when something doesn't have anything on it, we also refer to land when it is flat and you only have a few set of trees there. We would call it a plain. Okay? When the land is flat and we have like a few, few set of trees, we call it a plain. Okay? So that's a plain that I'm referring to there. Okay, so we can also say, so they are at their past there. What else can we say? The more answers. Okay, I see someone saying at the farm. Yes, it can also be at a farm because we see that they have a gate there, but there can be a part that we are not seeing. It can be also in a yard. Yes, it can be somebody's backyard. Yes, very good. This can also be someone's backyard. So we may not see where the house is. So we are only seeing the parts where the trees are, and we are seeing the flat piece of land. Yes, it can also be in a field. Yes, good job. Because we are not seeing the next part of the picture. So remember, when you're writing, it's good to have good imagination. So we can say, like, suppose there's a house on the right side of the picture. The side where the man is, suppose there's a house and we're not seeing the house. So it means that there's that part that we're seeing right there can be the yard. Suppose there's a farmhouse. So we are seeing the part where the sheep is. So it can be many different things, and that's why it's important for you to think. So when you look at things, it's important for you to think, not just look at it and like one thing alone come into your mind. Try to open up your mind so that many things can come. Hello, hello, our House of Challenge. Thank you so much for coming here. So good to see you. Okay, so now I want you to make a sentence for me, and you're going to make a sentence using characters. You're also going to use the time, and you're also going to use the setting. So you're going to use characters, who or what. And remember, the characters, they are the ones that help the story to flow, right? So the characters, you must be hearing about them throughout the story. Okay? We want to hear about the characters throughout the story. So let's see you making a sentence using the characters, who or what. Also, let's see you using the time, when, and the setting, where. So I want to see you make a sentence using the character, time, and setting. Make a sentence using the character, time, and setting. Oh, you're finally back. Oh, you've been off for a while. Okay, okay. I have been off for a while too, but I'm back, for quite a while now. How is everything with you? Okay, so I want to see you who are participating. I want to see you make a sentence using who or what. Remember, that's our character. Using our setting, that's where. And using the time, when. So let me see your sentence come flowing in right now. I'm looking for your sentences. Come on, you guys can do this. So let's see you doing that. Let's see. Come on, I'm not seeing any sentence as yet. I need to see some sentences. We want to see the characters, that's who. We want to see the time, and we want to see where. Come on, let's see your sentences. You know what? If you can't make all that in one sentence, you can make two sentences. Or you can make, two sentences. Or if you prefer to make three, that's fine. You can make three sentences. So I want to see which character you're going to work with, or the characters that you would want to work with. Remember, you don't have to use all the characters at one given point. You can have some or one to begin, and then as you continue and as you develop, you can include the others. Okay? So let's see your characters come in the story. Remember the characters?
Auntie with that, auntie.
I don't know. Sorry about that, guys. Let me see your sentences coming in. Let me see your sentences. I'm not seeing your sentences. Come on. I'm excited. I'm so ready to see some sentences. Remember, guys, we're using our characters, who or what, our time, when, and our setting, where. Those are what we're using to make our sentences right now. Remember, I said for those of you who cannot make it in one sentence, because that would be like a long sentence, we would want you to make it in 2 or 3 sentences. So I see Christiana saying, there was a little boy named George Thomas. He went out on a Sunday morning at 5 p.m. He went to feed his dog Rex and his sheep. So let's look to see if we can see all those things in this. Remember, we're looking for the characters who or what. We're looking for the setting the time when, and we're looking for the setting where. So yes, I can see who or what. I can see George is in the story. I can see Rex is in the story. I can see sheep is in the story. Good job. Let's see if we can see the setting. Where? Can we see where? There was a little boy named George Thomas. He went out on a Sunday morning. So we can see the time there. When was it? It was Sunday morning. And we were given a specific time on Sunday morning. It was 5 o'clock. But on Sunday morning, so Chrissy and Anna, there's a mistake here, because if it's on Sunday morning, then we cannot be Sunday morning. If it's PM, PM will not be morning time. Okay, PM will not be morning time. So that's something that is more or less contradicting, right? Or confusing. So one thought is confusing the other. Because if it's Sunday morning, then it cannot be PM. So let's try that again. He went to feed his dog Rex and his sheep. Okay, so we got the time there, and we also got who or what. There's something missing. We did not get where. We didn't get where. So we did not get where. Where? Where were they? When all this was happening, where were they? So we need to hear where they were. So there were mountains in the distance. He and his sheep went to the mountains for them to graze. Okay, so there were mountains in the distance. So if we say that there were mountains in the distance, right, and then we say he and his sheep went to the mountains for them to graze. Okay, so now we are hearing where. So now we get a sense of a place. Okay, now we get a sense of a place. Okay, so now you have corrected it. Very good. So it was in the yard on Sunday morning. Good job. So it was in the yard on Sunday morning. So I would love to see in the yard going with your first set of sentences. When there was a little boy named George, he went out on a Sunday morning. So instead of saying he went out, then you can say where he went. Where did he go? He went in the yard. So that's how you can get your setting coming in there. Okay? So where did he go? He went in the yard. So you can say he went in the yard on Sunday morning. And that's how we are going to hear our setting. So we are going to know where the boy is. Okay? Good job. But this was good. So if you can just write it over and let's hear the setting right there in it. That would be so good. Okay, so I have only seen Ayana and Chrissy's writing. Come on, I need to see the others writing. Come on, we need to see what you're writing. We need to see your time. We need to see your characters, who or what it was. We need to see the time when. And we also need to see where. Where. So let's see that. Who? Who are the persons or what are the things in your story that would do something or they are going to play a role? They're going to be doing something. They're going to be taking on some type of duty or responsibility. Yes, in your piece of writing, who or what is going to do that? And they would help the story to flow along. And what time? What time? What time are they doing this? And I was setting where? Where? Where are they? So we are looking at the picture and we're using this to help us to form the story. So come on, I would love to see some more. Let's see if anyone else is coming up with something else for us. So in the meantime, while someone else come up with something, we are going to move on. And now we are going to move to events. We are going to move to the events of the story. So when we are thinking about the events of the story, then we can ask the question, what happens? Okay? Or if the story we're writing it in the past, we would ask what happened. Okay? Or what's happening. So if it's going on, we can ask what's happening. Then our events, we try to look for events that would happen in the beginning of the story. That's the starting of the story. At the middle of the story to build up. And then at the end of the story. So we want to have events. These are things that happen in the story. And these things, we want to hear them happening at the beginning. We want to hear what's happening at the middle. And we also want to hear, what is happening at the end of the story. So, come on. All these together, we put them together to get the plot. The plot of the story comes from all these things. Right? The plot of the story comes from all these things. So the plot of the story is the events. And these events, how did they happen? How did they happen? In what order did they happen? And remember, when the story starts, we want to tell us something that is going to make our readers very interested about what is going on, okay? So we want them to read some more. And if you want them to read some more, then you have to write something that you are sure that would grab their attention. So when they read that, they want to know what's going to happen next. So let's see what you can write next. So those of you who did not submit anything, what you can do, you can feed from Chrissy and Ayana's writing, and now you can write some other events. Okay? So I see that Chrissy and Ayana, they had already put another event. They had said in his yard, sorry, not that part. They had said that there were mountains in the distance. He and his sheep went to the mountains for them to graze. So that would be another event. That would be another event. So that could be something that you put at the beginning of the story. So that's telling us where they went and it's telling us what happened. So they went to the mountain. That's something that they did. So whatever they do, that's what we call the events. So come on, let me see you guys putting in some events, some things that happen. Yes. So Christina Anna has already started it. They saw there were some mountains in the distance. He and his sheep went to the mountains for them to graze. Okay, so I see now you and Anna has changed. Okay, Sorry, have changed it. Yes, that's very good. So now I see that you are saying that he went out of the house. So that would be the setting. So we would know the setting is from his house to wherever he's going now. Okay? So he went out of the house. And most likely he's going to in his yard. Okay, so let's see. We want to see you put a beginning. So one of the beginnings can be there were mountains in the distance. He and his sheep went to the mountains for them to graze. So that can be a beautiful beginning right there. And that can start out the events. The events, remember, we said that they are things that happen in the story. So what are some other things that can happen? So that can be, if that is the beginning, oh, it is not allowing you guys to write a story. Okay. So remember I told you guys we are just drafting. So you don't have to put it in a full sentence. You can just say what happens next. Okay. So you can put it in a phrase. Put it in a phrase. Remember, a phrase is not a complete thought. So you can use 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. Yes. So one of the events is they went to the mountain for the sheep to graze. So what other events can we have there? So that would be the beginning. So after they went to the mountain, what happened after? So come, let's see what happened after. So that's our middle. So we want something in the middle. So you don't have to write it in a sentence. You can just say what happened. So in the middle, what did they do after? Okay, so I see they met a wolf. They met a wolf. So that's a very good build up. That's a very good build up there. That's so super cool. Can anybody think of any other thing that can happen there in the middle of the story? Remember the middle of the story, that's where we have the building up taking place, okay? And when we have a build up, this can be when we are going to see a problem, okay? A problem is going to happen. So there is a problem that is going to take place. And there's a build up. We are going to see that a problem is coming up. There's a problem that's coming up. So some type of problem is going to come up there. So let's see what you guys have. Oh, the wolf chased them down the mountain. The wolf chased them down the mountains. Good. So that's a very good one. So they met a wolf and the wolf chased them down the mountain. Very good. Wow, there's so many you're giving. Good job, good job. The wolf ate 2 of the sheep. The wolf ate 2 of the sheep. Think of that. The wolf ate 2 of the sheep. Good, good, good. Very good going. Can you think of anything else that can happen outside of a wolf? What else can happen in the mountain? What other thing can happen in the mountain? That could start to build up, and then we have a problem coming on. We have a problem coming on. So we want to start a build-up, and then we want to have a problem coming on. So what other thing can happen in the mountain? A mountain is a place where you don't have proper roads. So when you're going up the track, things can happen. What are some of the things that can happen while you're going up the track? What are some of the things that can happen while you're going up the track? There are so many things can happen while you're going up the track. Think of the mountain also. In the mountain, you have big trees. What can happen? Like sometimes trees can fall. Have you ever thought of that? That trees can fall. Yeah, so trees can fall in the mountain. Very good deal. You can slide. You can slide, yes, and you can fall. Good job. And that can cause you to tumble down the hill. So when you're in a mountain, you can fall, you can slide, and you can tumble down the hill. Also, there are big rivers. Sometimes the river can be a bit too heavy. And when the river is too heavy, it can cause things to go away. So it can pull things with it. So it can carry things away. So think of all that to make problems. So when you're thinking of problems, you're thinking of things that can really happen, things that can cause other things to happen. Yes. So we want to see your events surrounding your beginning, and then we want to see it has a middle, right? And remember the middle part of it. That's when we are going to be dealing with this part, the problem. Okay. And the problem is what is going wrong. What can go wrong? Sorry. What can go wrong? Think about what can go wrong. Or you can think about what is causing hardship or difficulty for the characters in the story, or for one of the characters in the story. So, what is causing hardship or difficulty for one of the character, or what is causing the hardship or the difficulty for some of the characters? So you need to think of that when you're thinking about the problem. And as you would see, I have a picture there with a puzzle. And the problem is normally like a puzzle that you just have to find ways to put it together because the pieces are all over the place. And you have to try to solve it. So I see some of the answers coming here. He met his father on his way home. Okay, so we are not so close. We are not so close. We need to give problems. He asked what was the problem. Okay, so now that would be going on to the next part, okay? Because we are still at the problem. Can we see some more problems that can happen there as we think? Remember, we are brainstorming, and brainstorming means that we think. Okay, what else can be in the mountain other than a wolf? We talk about rivers, and we talk about the rivers being too high and they can carry things away or pull things away with it. We also spoke about you can slip and you can slide and you can tumble down the hill. What else? How about there can be something scary in the mountain? I remember as a little child, sometimes when I go to my father's mountain, I used to look at a certain tree, and the tree was tall and the tree looked so scary. And anytime I come face to face with that tree, I always found myself running away from it because it was too scary. And one of the worst things about it was that sometimes there was a little hollow inside of the tree, and like it would have birds and different animals that would fly from it, and they would fly when they hear like a noise, and sometimes that would just scare you away. So that was something scary that I experienced when I was very, very small. Oh, he told his father that a wolf had met him on the way. His father went with him back up the mountain. Okay, so now this story sounds very familiar. This story sounds very familiar. Can anyone tell me which story this story sounds like? Can anyone tell me which story this story sounds like? It sounds so, so familiar. This story about them going to the mountain for the sheep to graze, and about meeting a wolf, and about the wolf. Yes, about them meeting a wolf, about the little boy cried until he went home. What does this remind you of? This is reminding me of a story. Come on, guys, jump into my mind. Tell me what story this is reminding you of. I can remember a story from reading all this. There's a story that I can bring right back to mind. Come on, tell me which story you think it is that I can bring right back to mind when I read all these things that you are saying here. There is a famous story that I think I am bringing right back to mind. And I just can't remember the name of the story. Can somebody help me to get the name of the story? I can't remember the name of the story, guys. There's a story about sheep and about this shepherd, and the shepherd went, and the shepherd um, was taking care of the sheep, and yes, they met a wolf. Yes, there was something about a wolf, and there was something about the wolf, and there was something about the little boy crying. There was something about the little boy crying. So what story is that reminding me of? Let me see you guys helping me to remember the name of the story. Wow, somebody says the boy who cried wolf. Somebody says Little Red Riding Hood. And someone says the boy who cried wolf again. Hey Saya, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, I would say that the story that this reminds me of would be the story of the boy who cried wolf. Yes, that's the story, the boy who cried wolf. Yes, so from all these things that you are saying here to me, this sounds very close to the story of the boy who cried wolf. Very good, good job, good job. You guys are doing well. So you guys see how important it is to for when you read stories, for you to be able to understand these stories, and you can use these same stories to help you to build your imagination. You can also use them to help you to create other storylines. You don't have to write, well, you cannot write the same thing that the other writer wrote, but what you can do, you can use it, your creativity, and you can make this writing very, very interesting. Okay? And this writing, it can have like the same characters and all that in it, and you can make it so different from the writer whose writing you were looking at. Hello, Dry Rice. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. How are you doing? Okay, so you guys, you did a really good job in giving me a problem. And we would work with the problem that they met a wolf. And the wolf chased them down the mountain. So that's because that's the only problem that we have here. Neil said that you can slide. So Neil, is there anything that you want to tell us about the problem that took place when one of them they slid? Come on. Tell us one thing that happened. So one of them they slide, or who slide, or what slide? Who slide or what slide? So we want to hear. We would love to hear what happened when one of them they slid. What happened? There are many things that can happen. Okay, so Neil is saying rain was falling and John slid. Okay, so after he slid, what happened when he slid? Remember, all here we are in the middle of the story. We are trying to build it up. Remember, we said that we have the beginning, then we have the middle, and in the middle, so the beginning is something that has to be very interesting, something that is going to grab the reader's attention, and that is going to make the reader more open to want to hear more about what you have to say. So now we are at the middle, and you have to remember what we said about the middle. We said that in the middle, we have the build up. This is where you have the build up to the problem. So a problem is going to happen in the middle of the story. Wow, good, very good, Neil. So he had mud on his face. He had mud on his face. Okay, but is mud such a bad thing for someone to have on their face? That's something that they can just easily take off. So let's think of another problem, something that can cause something so bad to happen. And when this happens, then it means that John would need some other attention. So let's make it more interesting. So mud on his face would be something that he can easily just wipe from his face. But now we want to make it more interesting. We want to make it something that is going to make our readers want to read even more. So let's see. Not Christiana is saying the boy's father met the wolf sleeping on a rock. He was about to kill the wolf when suddenly a tree fell and was tumbling down the hill. Okay, good. That's good. That's good. So I would love to hear. So how can we put that to make it more interesting? Rather than just the tree fell and was tumbling down the hill, how can we put that to make it more interesting? We can put the tree fell where? Where did the tree fell? On who or on what? Yeah, let's see. So did the tree? Did it who did it fell on? Let's hear, let's hear. Who did the tree Yeah, who? Come on, come on. Let's see. Who did the tree fell on? Let's see, let's see. Let's try to make it more interesting. So if the boy's father met the wolf sleeping on a rock, he was about to kill the wolf when suddenly a tree fell and was tumbling down the hill. So the tree fell and it was tumbling down the hill. Now we want to make that last part a bit more interesting. The boy, his father, and the wolf started to run down the hill. Okay, so that makes it more interesting. Good. So that's a good way of building it up. So they all started to run down the hill. But then what happened? What is the problem? They all started to run down the hill. Okay, so the tree fell on top of the hill. So if I was writing this story, this is very good writing, very good thinking, okay? This is very good thinking. Okay? If I was writing the story, one of the things that I would have added to this story was that the tree fell on the wolf. So remember, his dad was about to kill the wolf, but suddenly a tree fell. So I would have, in my imagination, I would have wanted the tree to fall on the wolf. So then I would have said that the tree fell on the wolf. So we know once the tree falls on the wolf, that dad didn't have too much to do, right? Dad didn't have too much to do because he didn't have to go and worry about the wolf as much as he would have to worry about the wolf now that the tree just fall on the hill and they're all running down the hill. So let's see what's next. So we still need to have that problem going on there. We still don't have a real problem. Then they hit their heads, and when they wake up, they were in the hospital. Wow, Neil. Yeah. So while they were running down the hill, yeah, so now we are building it up. Very good. You guys are doing very well. So after they all had to run down the hill together, then they hit their heads, and when they woke up, they were in the hospital. Okay, so Neil, you would have some corrections there to do. But I understand because we are just drafting, right? When they hit their heads and when they woke up, they were in the hospital. That's really, really good writing right there. Really good. So think of that. They hit their heads and they were all in the hospital when they woke up. Okay, so now I'm seeing Chrissy and Anne is saying the tree fell on the wolf. Then the boy's father called his wife to bring the axe. Good job. Very good. Very good. The boy's father called his wife to bring the axe. Very good. And I'm thinking that I have heard a story like that before with someone coming to bring an axe. Can you think of which story that is? There was a story that I have read before that has that same thing, that same idea about someone coming to bring an axe. Can you think of which story that story is? There's a story that I've read before and there was someone who was coming to bring an axe. Think about this, which story that is, and let me know. Okay, so now that we know what is going wrong in the story, so we have seen all that has gone wrong in the story. Yes, INR, that's it. That's the story right there. It is the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. There is a version that has that part of the story. Not all of the versions have that same part. Some of them, they have it different. But there is a version that has somewhat, they had to call someone to bring an axe. Very good. So now we have seen the problem in the story. What is going wrong? We have seen what is causing some difficulties for the characters, or for some of the, sorry, for a character or for some characters in the story. And here, there's difficulty for the sheep, there's difficulty for the wolf, and there's difficulty for the man, right? All of them, they are facing difficulty. Good. You guys are doing very well. So now that we have the problem, what is the solution, guys? What is the solution? What is the solution? How do we, and when we talk about solution, the solution is what they would do to solve the problem. How are they going to solve this problem that they have hit their heads? How are they going to solve it? What did they do to solve it? What happened that helped them to solve it? Okay, and remember, when you're writing your solution, you have to be very, very alert to make sure that you explain well, okay? And you are going to explain exactly how, okay, they were able to solve what was happening to them. How did they get through what was happening to them? How did they get through what was happening to them? So let's see what your solutions would be here. Let's see what your solutions would be here. So we know that they woke up in a hospital. That's a part of the solution. That's a part of the solution. That's a part of the solution. We could have also add to the story that someone found them. So who it was, that's, how did they, I should ask the question, how did they get to the hospital? So we can even add that part of to the story, how they got to the hospital. Yeah, we can add that part to the story. Okay? Because that would be a part, remember, they being at the hospital is a part of the solution. So we might even want to know, how did they get to the hospital? So that's another thing that we can think. Remember, right now we are brainstorming, we are thinking. And whenever we are brainstorming, we can add as much thought as we want to our brainstorming activity. Okay? And even when we go to write, we can add more, or we can take out what we do not want. So let's hear. How did they even get to the hospital? And then we want to hear how they solve this problem. How did they solve this problem? What did they do to solve the problem? What did they do? Okay, so I see some interesting answer coming here. I see that Neil is saying, okay. No, sorry, I'm not seeing no answers. These were your previous answers. Come on, guys. How did they solve the problem? What was the solution? What? So they end. We know that they are in the hospital. That's the last thing that we read. That's the last thing that we wrote to. That they woke up in a hospital. How did they get to the hospital? Come on, let's think and let's write some sentences to talk about how they got to the hospital. And also, we want to know how did they solve? How did they solve? How did they solve all this? Remember, they hit their heads. So if they hit their heads, there must be some kind of pain, or they must be they must have gotten some sort of injury. Okay, so there must be some sort of pain, or they must have gotten some sort of injury. So maybe they got some cuts, maybe they got some bruise, maybe they got a burst head. What kind of injury did they get? So these are things that we can add to our story. Okay, so when you are talking about your problem, you have to try to be a bit specific, okay, and try to be a bit more clear. So you write to show exactly what you're talking about. You explain it or you describe it so that we can understand fully. So he cut the wolf's belly and took out the sheep. The wolf had not slew the sheep. The sheep were safe, and the wife came with her needle and a large stone to act like the sheep was still alive. Okay, so that's another part that you are adding to the part where, so I think that part is added to the part where the sheep, where the tree fell on the hill and not on the wolf. So this would better suit that part, the part where the tree fell on the hill and not on the wolf. Okay, but we are already going with the part where the tree fell, with them running down the hill and all that. So what happened now that they woke up? Remember, somebody said that they woke up in a hospital. They hit their heads. That was the problem there. They hit their heads while they were running down the mountain. They hit their heads. So if they hit their heads, now they woke up in a hospital, what is going to happen next? As in, how did they get all these things solved? Like, so when they hit their heads, what exactly happened when they hit their heads? What exactly happened to them? Why did someone have to take them to the hospital? So let's question ourselves. Remember, we are brainstorming. Why would someone have to take them to a hospital? They could have taken them home. They could have taken them to the police station if they want to show who they were, so that the police can get to know who they were, so that they can get them to go to their home. So why would they take them to the police? Why would they take them to the hospital? It must be something that happened other than just them hitting their heads, because the person who or however they got to the hospital, because it said when they woke up, they end up in a hospital. So it means that they didn't take themselves to the hospital unless they were sleepwalking. Well, not sleepwalking, but they were hot walking and were not aware of themselves, because when they woke up, they were in a hospital. So it seems as though they don't have any memory of going to a hospital. So when they woke up, they were in a hospital. So, question, what exactly happened to them when they hit their head? Is it just that they hit their heads? Is it that they hit their head so bad that their head was bleeding? Sorry, their heads were bleeding, because it's more than one. Their heads were bleeding. What was the issue? Why would someone take them to the hospital? So we need to know that. And okay, so I see here the man's wife came to see what was all the commotion, and screamed when she saw the boy and the man on the ground. Good. So now we know here there's another character added to the story, one that we didn't talk about in the beginning, but there's another character. So you see how we can get other characters coming into the story. So we had his wife coming into the story. Good. So here we can think and say to ourselves, maybe it was the man's wife that took them to the hospital. While it doesn't have to be that way, it can be that she called someone for help. It can be that she called the ambulance. It can be that she called the police. And who knows? So it can be someone else that took them to the hospital. So they ended. Okay, so here we're seeing she called the doctor, and the doctor put them on the hospital in the hospital. Okay, so we have to be careful with the writing there. So the doctor put them in the hospital. Good, very good. So the doctor put them in the hospital. Okay, so now we have some more light shed on that. And this is what your writing should be. Your writing should be when you are thinking. Remember, we're just in the phase of thinking. Okay, so that's why I'm not doing too much corrections, because of the fact that we are just thinking, we're just brainstorming, right? And brainstorming, it means that you don't really have to focus on your errors with your spelling, with your punctuations and all that. What you have to mainly focus on is your thinking or your thought, exactly what you want to say, right? And how specific you want to be. But you do not have to go into the whole full specificness in your brainstorming, because when we now go back to write, when we are going over our writing, the things that we have brainstormed, and we are going back to write to revise it, what would happen is that we would find ourselves making it more specific, where we would add like adjectives to help our writings. We would add adverbs. We would also add figures of speech, yes, to our writing to make it more interesting, and so on. So we may add like similes, we may add alliterations, we may add metaphors, and all that to our writing. And we may add, well, I already said adjectives. We may add a lot more adjectives to make it clearer and to make it more reader friendly. Yes, so somebody saying the ambulance came to the need and took them to the hospital. Very good. So right there, we know how they got there. Now the solution, now that they are at the hospital. So we didn't say exactly what happened to them, like if they bust their head, if they were bleeding, if one of them their neck was broken. We didn't say all that, so we don't know. So all that would be something that we would need to add. How bad is their their injury? How bad is it? So we can add more to that to show how bad it was. And then now in our solution, we can see how they got all that fixed. How they got all that fixed. So we know that they're in a hospital, and we know what and why people will go to a hospital. So why would we go to a hospital? We know the reason. So now let's say what happened at the hospital that helped them to feel better, or that helped them to solve their issues that they were facing. So what helped them to solve their issues that they were facing? Whatever issues that they were facing from the fall, um, how did they get some help? So now we can talk about that. So we can say what happened at the hospital. You know, um, did they just have to get like their cuts dressed or some stitches? You know, we can say like they got stitches. What else can we say? We can say that they had to do like a CT scan. They had to do a surgery, because if something very very bad happened, maybe you might have to do a surgery. And some of them they maybe just had like little pains, and we know that if they have like little pains, they would just give them like some pain medication. So they would have medication that can help their pain to ease. Yes. So what exactly did they receive in terms of what did they receive at the hospital to help them to solve their issues that they faced from their problem? The nurse told them that the injury was not a good one. Right. So the injury was not a good one. And what did the nurse, what did the doctors, what did they have to do to help them to solve this issue? So if it was not a good one, it means that they couldn't just leave the hospital like that. Something had to be done. So what did they do to solve all that? Okay, so the wolf and the people became friends. Yes, that's something that we can say at the end. Okay, so we can sum it up at the end, and that's something that we can definitely add at the end. Okay, but I need to know what exactly they did to them. What did the nurse or the doctors do to um, the characters, the wolf and their man and their sheep, to make them feel better or to solve their issue? So let's see. Okay, so when we say and the wolf became friends with them, that could be at the end of the story. So that could end the story, because at the end of the story, when the story is all done, that's when you would talk about their experience, what they have learned from it. What did they learn from their experience? How did this experience help them? And you can even add why. Why did they choose to go to the, well, they didn't really choose to go to the hospital, but why did the person choose to take them to the hospital? So why? Why did the person choose to take them to the hospital? So this can tie in well with their experience too, and the things that they have learned. Because at the end of the story, when the characters would have experienced a problem and they solve the problem, or the problem is solved by whatever means, you would need to also make sure that you talk about what they have learned from the experience, or how did the experience help them. So that is very important. And that can be like the ending of your writing. And you can even sum it up to give like their whole feelings or their whole emotions at the end, like how they feel at the end, right? And this can be something good. So you can give this feeling or the emotions at the end of the story when the story is completed. Okay, so I am not seeing your solutions, guys, but for me, if I'm supposed to put a solution, one of the things that I would say is that they got help. Sorry, they got help from the doctors and nurses at the hospital. Um, I would say like the wolf was badly damaged, as in the wolf received a lot of injuries, and so the wolf would not be able to walk again. But the wolf still had life, and I would say that the wolf had to take a surgery. They had to do a surgery on the wolf. So after that, the wolf was taken like to a place where it can be taken care of. So like a sanctuary, or those places that normally take care of animals. So I would say that the wolf had to be taken there. So it means that the wolf was now out of the mountains and would not be able to harm others again. And then for the man and for the sheep, I would say that the man, he did not get a hard a hard hit to his head, so he just had a bit of pain, and they just had to give him some painkillers, so he was still fine. And for the sheep, I would just say that the sheep had some bleeding, but it was like, minor cuts, and because of this, the sheep had to get some stitches, and then the sheep was fine. And then we can all sum up our story after. So we have our ending, our emotional part. How do they feel? Now that all this has happened to them, how do they feel? Um, what was their experience like? And what did they learn from the experience? How did they feel about the experience? What did they learn from the experience? So that's what we can see at the end. So let me see what you guys would say at the end for the experience. What would you say for the experience? What they learned from their experience, or their emotions? How did they feel at the end? Let's say that this, so now you can put yourself in their positions and think about if that if you were the person in the story, or if it was your pet in the story, or whatever, how would you feel? So you can put yourself in the place of these characters now and think about how you would feel. And so then you can talk about how you think that they felt at the end of the story. So you can bring out all the feelings, all the emotions, and you can now talk about what they learned from all this, all that they experienced. What did they learn? So come on, let me see some of that, guys. We are close to the end. We are very close to the end. So I just want to see you guys talk about some things that they learned and or their feelings. So you can talk about their feelings or some lessons that they have learned from the story, from all that they experienced in the story. And I know that you guys know it. I know we are all feeling a bit restless. Okay, so they felt like if they did wrong and asked each other to forgive them. Okay, so this is a nice one. I love this one. I love this one. I love this one. So they felt like if they did wrong and they asked each other to forgive them. Yes, they can. They can. I think that they can have that feeling, like because all of them they ran down the hill, without thinking about anything, and I can imagine how they were running at a fast pace, and so they asked each other to forgive them, because of the fact that they just chased down the hill. And I especially could think of the wolf. The wolf would be asking so much for them to forgive um, the wolf because of the fact that the wolf was originally their threat. The wolf was the one that they looked at as the one to come after them. And after the tree broke, it seems as though everybody forgot about the wolf. And even the wolf forgot about itself. And they were all running away from that together. So, what other feeling do you think that they can have there? What other feeling can they have? What other feeling can they have, guys? Oh, the wolf can't talk. Okay. Yes, they cannot talk. Like, so remember, we said when we write narrative stories that this can be something that is true, right? So it can be non-fiction, and also it can be fictional. It can be something that is not true, right? So we can write stories like that when we're writing narrative. It can be something that can be true and it can be something that is not true. So it can be something that is even so unrealistic, something that we can't even dream of it happening, right? But it's there in our imagination. Think of when you write about topics about going to space. That's something that a lot of us we can't even dream of going to space because a lot of us we don't know much about space. And the next thing is that space is a bit far fetched from some of us because of the fact that it's not something that we see, you know, with our own eyes, like right in front of us, so that we know, okay, we're thinking, well, yeah, we can experience that. Yeah. We see it on TV and all that, and we don't hear, well, we do hear of experiences, but not like the experience is not so popular among people. There are only a few set of people who can say, okay, I went to space. Yeah. So, yes. So, definitely. So, we can pretend that the wolf can talk in the story. Yes, we can pretend that the wolf can talk in the story because that's what you guys see in movies too, right? You would see those movies like cars talking, fruits talking, trees are talking, and so on. And it's quite fine because, it can be something that is not true or something that is not realistic. And when you're writing these two, you can also write in a contemporary form. And when you write in a contemporary form, it means that it can sound like a real life story, but it doesn't have anything to, it is not true. It is just a made up story. So it can sound very much real life. Like you can put a year, we can put a year in it to say, okay, it happened in 1951 or it happened in 1932. you know, and that would make it sound so real, but it's not real. It's just made up. Yes, like in that movie and in that story with the cars. Yes, we see the cars talking. Very good, very good. So remember, when you're writing narrative writing, you just can imagine, right? It doesn't have to be anything that's real. So if we try to stick to what's real, a lot of the times our writing may not be as interesting as we would want it to be if we try to stick to our narrative writing being real. It's good to write about real things, you know, but if you want your writing to sound a lot more juicy and all that, it's good to write about, you know, things that you can imagine when you're writing narrative writing. And you do have your time and your place when you would have to write real things. But remember today we said we were just using our imagination and we were brainstorming. That's what we were doing, brainstorming. So I'm sure you guys would have developed a lot more in terms of brainstorming, questions to ask yourself while you're writing, questions that you can ask yourself, and things that you can think and all that. You have definitely experienced more of that today because that's what we were doing today. So if you know of persons who want to hear today and they would really love to be a part of this session, or they can use this information, you can pass the video along to them by sharing it with them so that they can watch it over and they can feel as though they were a part of the session, and definitely for them to learn from it or for them to practice what we were doing. So in your own spare time, you can go back and you can practice all the things that we have practiced, the elements of the narrative story, where you have the characters, who or what is in the story, and the role that they're going to play is what's going to cause the story to be able to create a line for itself and bring out the best of the story. Also, we have the time when the story happened, and we give so many different times. We talk about dawn, we talk about dusk, we talk about noon time, daytime, we talk about specific time like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And we also spoke about time like dinner time and so on. Then we spoke about where the story is happening. And we talk about that being a place. So when we're talking about where, we must have a place. And remember, your place can change. You can have like a main setting, right? So most of the story here, it was happening in the mountains, but then we moved from the mountain to different settings. So before we moved from the mountain, we were here in the yard, and we were even in the house before that, and we were also in the hospital. So our story moved to different settings, and that can happen. You can have your main setting and then you can have sub settings, or you can have one setting alone where your story just happens at one place, and that can still be fine too. And then we spoke about our problem. Sorry, we spoke about the events, and we said that the events are things that happen in the story, and we spoke about the events as the plot of the story. And we said the events, we try to talk about what happened in the beginning of the story, and we try to make that very interesting so that we can have people wanting to read more to find out what is going on in the story. So we have to make it as interesting as possible. Also, we spoke about the middle of the story, and we said this is where we are building up to that peak. We are building up to that peak, and that peak is that point where we're going to have the problem in the story. So The problem, we said, would be that thing that is causing difficulty for the characters in the story, or that thing that is going wrong in the story. And then we spoke about the solution. We said the solution would be how, right? And we said the problem, we find the problem in the middle of the story. So we would hear the events of the problem in the middle of the story, right? And then we spoke about the solution, and the solution would come down to the ending part of the story, where we're going to talk about how um, how were the characters able to correct what went wrong, how were they able to fix something, how were they able to solve it. Those are the questions that we would ask. And then we said to the last part of the story, when we are ending the story, it would be good to speak about their experience the characters had, the lessons that they have learned from these experiences, and also to talk about their feelings and their emotions after these experiences, right? So I think that's what we spoke about today. And I must say that you guys did a really, really good job in terms of putting together that whole story, and a lot of your ideas. Um, well, some of your ideas, they came out of other stories. Like they were related to other stories. You just you kind of like improvised them, put them in your own way, and add them to this story because of the storyline, and that was really good. So that's why when we read, we have to be able to remember what we read, and we have to be able to use transfer. That is called transferring our knowledge. So now we were able to transfer our knowledge from a story that has the same characters and all that. We were able to transfer some of these knowledge into this story, and to use that knowledge and make it our own. So I think that you guys did such a great job today, and I'm so proud of you that you were here and that you took the time out to be a part of this session. So let me know, do you guys have any questions that you want to ask? Let me know, do you have any questions that you want to ask? And of course, our next session, I think we are kind of like done where it comes to writing, because this was the model that I had to, yes, this was the model that I planned to do with you guys, the narrative model. Maybe later on in the future, I may do the descriptive model, or even the expository model, and so on. But I think the narrative model is very important for you, especially for the grades that some of you are in, because this is one of the first type of story that you learn to write, and there are so many persons who still have difficulty writing stories like this. So if there are any other thing that you want to see on writing, you will let me know. So you can let me know right now if there are any other things that you want to see on writing, in terms of using different models. If you would want to do other writing sessions, you can let me know. Yeah. So coming up this week, I would not be, yes, tomorrow, if I do a session tomorrow, it will be in the afternoon, but this session will be like based on homographs or homophones and that kind of thing, because I think that that's an area where we still need a lot of practice. Homographs, homophones, there are so many people still getting mixed up, confused. People who are, in their old age, people in their middle age, people in their young age, who still get very confused when it comes to homographs and homophones and those kind of things. So that will be one of the sessions that we're going to do. We're going to do one of that session maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, Lord's will, and we're also going to do the Caribbean session. So how well you know the Caribbean, where in the Caribbean, and I would love you guys to attend that session. How well you know the Caribbean. So when do you think we should do that? How well you know the Caribbean? Give me a day when we should do that, because I want as much people to attend that one. How well you know the Caribbean. So we're gonna be traveling through the Caribbean, like different places. We're gonna talk about their food, culture. We're gonna talk about different heritage things that you can see there, places. We're gonna talk about different landmarks. We will talk about even like sites you can see. You can look forward to places that you can visit there, and so on. We talk about different things about the different Caribbean islands. Okay, so Neil is suggesting Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday then. Okay, so Wednesday's a date. Okay, so on Wednesday, Lord's will, we can do that session on the Caribbean. We can do where in the Caribbean, and you guys would answer the questions where in the Caribbean we can find different things. So what you guys can do, you can start researching about the different Caribbean islands, about their food, about their culture, about their flags, about their so many different things, about them. Sites that you have there, things that you have there, and so on. And I'm sure that you guys would definitely enjoy that one. I don't know if I might be able to have like Miss Rowe or someone else join me for that session, but it would be good to have someone else, some other Caribbean persons joining for that session. So I'll try to get some Caribbean person to join me for that other session on the Caribbean, so that we can talk about different Caribbean places. Yeah. And I will make sure that that person is not from the same Caribbean island that I'm from. So, we would have a difference. Or even if I don't have one person, I might get two persons. So I'll see if I can get two persons to join me, two other Caribbean persons to join me. So thank you guys so much for being here today. It was such a pleasure having you guys. And I hope that you did learn something from the show. And I hope that I'm going to see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me. You guys stay safe, be good. And of course, let's give credit to Sarah for the bundle funds, and also Pixabay for the pictures that were used in this presentation. Until then, I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for watching. It was such a pleasure having each and every one of you. So you guys take care until I see you guys on, maybe tomorrow. And of course, Wednesday, Lord's will. Yes, we're going to have that Caribbean session. Later, guys.